Okay, now my starter is a Cullen Skink Risotto. We've got some lovely pale smoked haddock, we've got some leeks, a good Scottish tatty, I've got some shallots, some fresh herbs, some butter and creme fraiche. So to get things going, that pan warming through, I'm going to chop some shallots, quite roughly diced, and straight into the pan. With some chopped leek, I'm going to replace rice with potato. So I'm going to simmer the shallot and the leeks and the lovely full fat butter. So while the leeks are simmering away in the pan, I'm going to drop a piece of undyed Scottish smoked haddock into some milk just to warm through for about 10 minutes. Place the rice with potato. We're going to get the potato really nice and thin into a small dice, and then just drop it into the pan with some garlic, and some thyme. So just continuing to cook out the potato, adding the milk slowly to fully cook out the potato. All that we need to do now is add the beautifully poached haddock, gentle stir through, a generous spoonful of creme fraiche. So I've added some creme fraiche to bind the smoked haddock, the potatoes and the leek to make a delicious Scottish risotto. For the main event, we're going to do a beautiful dish of roasted and braised lamb with a twist on haggis, neeps and tatties. St Andrew's Day means a great lot to me, and even more so when I lived south of the border. So when I returned home and opened my restaurant in Scotland, I had this inflated sense of pride for everything Scottish. So for the neeps, I've diced them up and just boiled them off in a little bit of salted water. For the tatties, just boiled them off again, drained them, dried them out over the heat, added some cream, a little bit of salt and some fresh nutmeg at the last minute. Okay, to prepare the lamb, I'm going to trim off the fat. All I'm going to do is make an incision just above the fat and push against it, and all that we're going to be left with is this beautiful piece of lamb ready to be seasoned. So we've got some sea salt and some pepper, a pan nice and hot, and I'm going to place this loin of lamb straight into the pan. To add some garlic, some crushed garlic, and I've got some fresh herbs, rosemary and thyme. I'm just going to leave it to caramelise the bottom of the meat for a couple of minutes before turning over. Lots of butter. All the flavours coming together. So basting the lamb with all the beautiful flavours, and we take it off, put it into the oven between 5 and 10 minutes depending on how rare you like your lamb. So we've got the braised lamb and the haggis and the fresh herb, and we would let that set in the fridge until hard. Then into the flour into the egg and then into the breadcrumb. Straight into the hot oil until golden brown. So we've got the remaining liquor from the braised lamb, reducing it by half, adding some red wine. Okay, to serve the dish, we've got the braised lamb and haggis. We've got the neeps. And of course, the mashed tatties with nutmeg. And the beautifully tender loin of lamb. And the natural juices with the red wine. So we've got the braised neck and the haggis terrine in a crispy crumb. We've got the pan-fried loin of lamb with the crispy shallots and tatties and neeps with natural juices. Okay, so now for the grand finale. We've got the oatmeal shortbread, Glen Whisky and chocolate and raspberry with whiskey caramel. So we've got this lovely raspberries, which are in my opinion the best of Scottish, one of my favourite Scottish ingredients. So we've got a bit of fire there with the whiskey, infusing in this beautiful berry, a little bit of sweetness. And hey, remember that the recipe is only a guide. If you fancy something else delicious in there to marinate that works well with the whiskey and raspberry, add it in. And remember, taste it. Gently melting the chocolate, and as you can see, absolutely delicious. By adding the cream, we've got a velvety chocolate ganache, and of course the missing secret ingredient of the delicious whiskey, and most importantly, checking it for taste. So to set the chocolate ganache, I'm just going to pour it in to a dish. Once the dough is formed, stop and do not overwork it. So I'm actually melting the butter with the heat of my hands. Okay, so we're just going to roll this out about ½ centimetre thick. I'm going to cut the oatmeal shortbread into strips and place it onto a tray. Okay, so we've got it on the baking sheet and I'm going to pop it in the oven. That's 45 minutes at 130 degrees centigrade. And for the whiskey caramel, quite simple really. Our nation's favourite whiskey. Some people prefer it with water, and all that I'm going to do is add some sugar to the whiskey and water. So the sugar straight into the pan, pour over 50 ml of the water, and all we're going to do is let the temperature of the pan boil the sugar down until we have a lovely golden caramel syrup. I'm going to add some cold water, and you can see that that's slowing down the caramel so it doesn't burn. And at the last minute, I'm going to add some whiskey. And the beautiful aroma of the whiskey and the sugar cream in the centre of the plate. Then rest the shortbread in the centre, the oatmeal shortbread. Then a beautiful chocolate ganache. And not forgetting the marinated berries. And got some cream, and to finish, a drizzle of the patriotic whiskey, a little dusting of ice and sugar. My name is Craig Wilson, the kilted chef from Eat on the Green in Aberdeenshire. And as they say, the proof is always in the pudding. Delicious.